We've all been here. Farming upkeep so that your base might still be there when you wake up. Just to lose it all, forced to decide between sleep and your home. In Rust, you die a lot. Nothing can save you from that. But what if you didn't have to be out farming upkeep? What if your loot could be stored in an impenetrable vault that can be upkept on a single farming run per day? Meet the Sierpinski. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoyed that cinematic as much as I enjoyed putting it together. If you did, a like or a subscribe would go a really long way. But enough of that, let's get on with the tour of the Sierpinski. The Sierpinski is a small group base designed for 3 to 6 players, able to tank a whole lot of rockets, and still provide you with some meta peaks, so that you can defend those online raids. Kicking off the tour, we'll check out the external first. I'm going with the modified Sartori external that I talked about in one of my previous videos. But what we have here is space for loot storage, disconnectable, and then over here we have the TC. Looks like all of that despawned on me. Hooray. Moving on into the base, we have some really nice visibility from the gatehouse, a bed respawn, and some nice tight angles for online raid defense once these walls open up. Moving on into the compound, we've got 6 auto turrets overlooking your base. You really only need these 3, but these 3 will help fortify that up if you've got a surplus of laptops and computers. Over here, we have bedroom modules. If you have the DLC, you can fit extra storage in here, otherwise you'll just have to put a small box and lock it right in the corner. If raiders were to break through these outer walls, the turrets have a nice angle into this furnace funnel. And so you can be confident that raiders will not be very happy trying to break into your base through those walls. Moving on towards the base is symmetrical on 3 sides, and so all of these entrances are the same. We've got a 2nd floor jump up. This allows us to have 3 walls to core from any direction. I've left the space empty. I'm sure you can fill it with something. And so moving on up here, we've got one of our 3 bunkers. I'll go into that more in a second. And you're just right into your main living space. This main living space is on the 4th floor of the base. This is to prevent the main living space from being within splash distance of your core. And that's what is one of the big reasons why this base has such a high rocket cost. Moving over on this way, we head into one of our bedroom modules. Out here we've got um, some nice Brutalist peaks and Patrico peaks looking down on the compound, and some faraway angles as well. These also let you look onto the external TCs and make sure raiders are not using those. Right now I've got glass windows just providing some nice visibility. I really like to be able to see, but you could make those solid walls as well if you want the added security. These turrets overlook the main living space, and so you're able to leave a lot of these garage doors open while you're online and feel comfortable that these will slow down raiders. Moving on into this bedroom module, we've got room for storage. We've got a nice little hidden storage box up here that raiders will only get if they blow directly into this bedroom. We've got some nice Patrico angles down onto compound and outside of compound. And we have 3 of these. Alternatively, you can swap these boxes for another bed, so you can fit your group up to 6 if you go with that layout. And then you can use DLC shelves or put storage out in this part. Moving on over this way, got a nice door peek down into compound, protects the bedroom module, and it lets us see right into this furnace funnel. So this is a great one to play from as raiders are blowing into your base. And we've got our reverse waterfall heading down into compound. You just hop right back up. As you can see so far, most of your living is spent up here on this 4th floor, with all of it being accessible pretty close, including this additional loot room. This is honeycombing. It's only 1 wall from the exterior, so it's not the safest. And down here we have one of our 3 bunkers. 2 of our bunkers are used as pure storage, and 1 of them is used as the entrance to the base. This is the layout I worked out so that everything can be accessible pretty quickly, so that you don't have everyone trying to funnel into these bunkers. You should just be able to access everything pretty much from right here. If you don't have these bamboo shelves, you'll have to come up with a different layout, but this is what I came up with to maximize mobility throughout that bunkered area. One piece of insurance I like to add to this base when I play with this style bunker is to put shotgun traps facing at the opening. If a raider tries to get through that opening, the shotgun trap will break the twig and they will be stuck inside. Here we've got our one-way retake up onto roof. And then just head right up to roof. Roof is covered by these 3 auto turrets that are protected from raiders trying to shoot them from minicopter. And from the roof, you've got access to these 3 symmetrical towers that have 3 Brutalist peaks looking down onto the area around your compound. These are a lot of fun to play from. Over here, we've got a door peak looking down again onto the furnace funnel and the external TC. And we've got 1 ramp with a nice Patrico, and then another ramp that's a bit more open. You can still play from that. And then these cool little things where you can get some nice long distance vision. Heading back down into the main living space, we will head into the core. And so this is what I call the vault. We've got a bunch of singled armored doors. You could use double doors so that you could use garage doors, but I really prefer this version where we go with the single doors so that you can get this pancake layer above. And so heading down, this really is a vault, so it's a bit of a tight squeeze. You're not going to want to play out of here. Don't want to keep your loot in here that you want to craft with. And so right here, you've got a vending machine bunker, and you can access the TC through here. And this TC is protected from a minimum of 31 rockets, and this loot in this room is protected from a minimum of 50 rockets to get TC and this loot. And so the loot in this one space alone is extremely secure, and I'd argue more secure than any other trio to small group base for this level of upkeep. I'm going to take the chance here to pop a graphic up on the screen that shows and goes over the build cost, the upkeep, and the raid cost to the Sierpinski. Feel free to pause and then continue with the rest of the tour. And as you can see, the upkeep on the main TC is really quite low. It's because the upkeep is so evenly spread between the 3 externals and the central TC. We're able to minimize the way the tax system in Rust works and really keep that upkeep down. And that's the Sierpinski. I think it's a really cozy base to play out of. You've got a nice big open living space, but the rocket cost to raid is really high, so it keeps your loot safe while you sleep. If you do end up trying out this base, let me know how it goes, and if you find a way to raid it for cheaper, I'd also love to hear about that. Alright, let's build the Sierpinski. We're gonna start off with a Dorito starter. Draw that all the way in. Here. A Singapore. A TC. You line it up with that second dark line, you'll always have room for the bunker. And then I like to get as far left as I can, that just helps. If you don't have the resources to immediately put down the vending machine bunker, just don't place this window until you've got the vending machine down, or else the placement's pretty hard. I recommend early on leaving that to just a furnace, so that way you still have room for a bag, rather than making it a jump up right at the beginning. You can fit 2 furnaces there. It's a bit of a tight starter, but there is enough room for everything that we need. So we're going to wall the second floor off as soon as you can. You've got 2 options for the next jump up. You can go left or right. It really doesn't matter. Up to you. I like to go left. So I wall this in. This I do make a jump up. Once again, you could just use deployable, but got plenty of space for a solo or duo this way. And then lastly, we have one more choice. Do we want the door on this side or this side? As long as you're in the left of the 2 triangles, the door will work. So you can go there, and then seal that roof all the way in. Get your double door. And this is the starter unit. And then, just to finish off showing what you can fit in the starter, you can fit that. You can fit up to 2 more bags up here if you need the spawns for a trio. You're really not going to be able to fit more than a trio in this starter, but if you're playing with more than 3, you should probably use a dedicated starter. And you can get these 2 barrels in this loot room. And so yeah, it's a pretty tight starter, but it's got everything you need to farm up for the next. Now that we've got our starter, let's get on with the rest of the footprint and building the externals. From here on, I've got 3-sided symmetry on, and I've switched to twig build grade so that you guys can see what you want to upgrade and what we're going to break. And so right from here, we're going to place this square down, 2 triangles, upgrade these triangles, and then we're going to go square, triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle. You're going to want to upgrade these triangles and these triangles, and then break the squares. And from this square, we want to build up with 7 squares in the standard wall stack. Cap it off with the triangle. Delete the squares, except for this last one, and then build back the half moons. On this square, we're going to want to build this wall, upgrade it, and then we can actually break this as soon as that's built. You could do that a little bit earlier, and cap that off and upgrade these 3. And then, to get the external down right away, we can run out 2 half moons and break the remaining. Then we can build out with 2 squares, and then 3 triangles to the side and break that one in the middle. We break those for now. This is going to be a disconnectable external. Make sure that this is a full wall and this is a half wall so that the roof cannot connect with that. And make sure this side is wrapped so that the conditional is facing you and that the conditional is not active here, which will make placement easier. Line up the front corner slightly below, kind of in this position. You really just have to feel it out, get some practice with it. Move back and forth. Place this wall, test to see 79% stability, and no gap right there. See, the freehand's really not that scary. You can get it first try. Build out triangle, square, triangle. Break the build back, and then go triangle, square, triangle. Upgrade that. Break these. Roof up to the top. And you want to place this from the top so that you don't lock yourself out of your bunker forever. Check to make sure that's still open. And now that this is built, we can come in here. You should not close that because now you cannot get out without a friend. Place your tool cupboard. And there you go, you have your external and your build site claimed. If you've got enough stone to connect it right now, just build that square, upgrade these, and upgrade these foundations coming back because we will want these. If you don't have the stone, don't worry about connecting it up, just do that once you've got it. Now, we can either get the compound down really early, or you can build it later. I'll show you how to build it now. I know some people like having an early compound and some people build it later, and so I'll just show the early version. So just add that triangle, and then here you're going to want a double door and a window. Upgrade those. Get some half walls. And then come over here. These are the bedroom modules. And you're just going to want to add full walls and half walls. And now we're actually ready to put down high walls. You can slap your door in there. I'm assuming you're not at a level 2 yet, so you can just slap in some window bars. They don't give you a ton of protection, but better than nothing. To seal off the compound, we're going to take our high wall. We're going to line up with the gatehouse and try and draw a straight line, kind of facing out like that, and just barely clip in. We don't want to go too far. And then coming over here, and we're gonna want to go to right where it starts to clip into the module, but then we just slide right back out a little bit, and that's exactly how you want it placed. And we come over here and we just repeat the exact process, but on the other side. So we draw a straight line, and we just barely clip in and then come back out. And that's the compound sealed. Coming back in to work on the rest of the base. We're gonna build up. These you really want to get to sheet right away because we're about to seal them in. And then you can just Alright, so now that those are sealed in, we're going to do something that might seem a little weird at first, but it's so that we can get all of these interior honeycomb to sheet before we seal the base for good. So we're going to come out, 3 walls, upgrade these right away. We're going to place this foundation. You can upgrade it now or just leave it twig. This is our jump up. So on here, put your door, it can be single or double. Then leave this open for now. Seal that off. And then what we're going to do here, we can put those down. If we leave this open, open, it lets us jump down and access all of these walls while we're still cooking up metal frags. And so while those are coming in, you can start upgrading these. You don't need to worry about that you can access from inside, but you need to get this wall, and this wall. Those are essential for you to get before you seal this off. And so once you get these 3 walls on all 3 sides, you can seal these off. You don't want to forget these, because if you have to leave those in your stone and then you upgrade this to sheet, you leave a huge gap. And if you get it to sheet, the gap closes off. Once we put the other wall, that gap will seal the rest of the way up. Okay, so once you get those 3 things upgraded, we can then place these 2 walls, build ourselves out, and then seal that off, because we do not need to go back down there anymore. And you actually do the exact sort of same thing here. We upgrade that, put these in, and then once you get all 3 of these upgraded, we can seal that off and make our jump up here. We seal that in up again, come around and seal that in. And this will be honeycomb. So once again, we're going to want to get this to metal before we seal it. So we'll seal that in. And note how we face this interior to us so that the conditional blocks the gap. And then when we place this wall here, make sure it's also facing you, because now this gap is fully closed. If we rotate the hard side out, this gap opens up. Now it's closed. Now for the fun part of the base, the bunkers. Building the bunker, make sure that you build this roof off of this triangle of this side. If you build it off of this side, your bunker will never open. Don't do that. Place the wall here, facing you, and seal it. Now we have a bunker. Right now there's a gap, but we're able to close this gap a bit using that conditional. And so now to open the bunker, you just place the roof, and you can now access your bunker. Now that we have our bunkers, let's get the floor set up so that we can use the bunkers. So we upgrade those. Then up here, double wall window, and we can go wall. We can seal this in. And then in the center here, we want to go double door. Window is how I like to go with it. Double doors for stability. Seal that part in. Grooves, I attach them to the center. You can also get these frames in if you attach them to the outside first. And then you can upgrade all 4. And with these frames, if you use the default stone skin, those will provide the most visual coverage down into your main living space. Alright, now for the jump ups, we're going to place a half wall into a window to get our retake on a roof. Walls. You can go with either a window here or a door. The window's a little bit more secure for your battery, but the door is a lot easier to work with. So depending how much you want to protect your battery, Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the base, the build-ups for the shooting floor. So if you come out here, we want to go from here, triangle, triangle, square, triangle, build this triangle in on the middle, and over on this side, we're gonna go triangle, square, triangle, with the one in the middle. It's the exact same, but since we already have this jump up, we only need one triangle here. Alright, and then on this side, we're building up for the door peak. And so we don't need to, we go with a half wall, and then 3 door frames, and then you can break that, break this, so that all we're left is this. And then over here, we're building up for a bedroom Patrico, and so we want to carry the half wall through, and then on top of this half wall, 3 door frames up for the Patrico, and then we can break these foundations. We will want to add this one back in. And then over here in the front, we just raise these up for stability. Now let's work on the shooting floor. Gonna come out, get this hexagon, 3 walls, setting up for our brutalist peak. If you're running into that stability issue, you can add in those 3 right there. Okay, so here, double door, and we're going to half walls, another double door, and seal that off. Right now over here, we follow the gaps you see on the floor, so triangle, and square, and we should have raised up these 3 for the bedroom. And you want to attach this floor to that roof, or that wall frame that we just raised. Right here is where we have our Patrico. Just seal it like that. This is a great spot for a hidden barrel. And then once you have embrasures, we put the embrasure facing on the inside. And now we have that nice peak from here. Here, I just go with the window, nice visibility. And then I seal this off once we build from the other side. Over here, do kind of the same thing, floor. And then we're gonna want to attach this to one more bit of build-up. So we build up 3 wall frames. Over here we do 2 wall frames, and then a full wall to protect you as you climb up this netting. Make sure you're building on these center triangles. We don't want these connected. Seal the wall. Then here we have a nice little door peak. If you're struggling with stability, add these 3 in. I believe they should have been there. And seal the roof off there. Here we've got our brutalist. Over here, there is a setup for a Patrico, so we're going to put that there. You will get a tighter angle if you use default stone. And then here, because it's so open, I like to just go with the window. Same here. Right, we're nearly done with the base. We just have 2 things left to do. First of which is the roof. Although you could finish up the other part of the base before this. Alright, we're going to come up to where the brutalist was below. 5 half walls. 5 windows. Then you're going to place 2 roofs. It's a bit ridiculous, but I love how this looks. So you get triple brutalist, and then you can either put these here as embrasures, or you can use windows if you just want a little bit more protection, since those are a bit exposed. Then up here, 3 floor tiles for your turrets. And then up here, we just close this in with 3 roofs. You can build those vanilla. I was just struggling a little bit because the server is lagging just a hair right now. But yeah, you can build those 3 roofs, and then this is a spot for your auto turret, which will be protected from raiders trying to shoot them out. And here, build up for your wind turbines. You can rush for one of the wind turbines. I usually do, so that I can run my furnaces and my refrigerator and all sorts of fun stuff. And then out here, just to finish the roof off, a window on that square, a window on this square. You can go with a window here, just for fun. And here, I like to go with roof ramp, car ramp. And finish off the roof like that. I do like to place this spot down for a double door or a chain link door, or whatever you want, just to section your roof off a little bit. And so exiting out of the compound, you're going to want to put window right here, carry roof over in a single door. And out here, we're going to want to make the external non-griefable, and so we want to get this ramp down. I like to carry the frames through to make it so you can't topside. And you're going to want to upgrade or add this honeycombing right here to prevent the explosive ammo exploit, where raiders can shoot explosive ammo and disconnect your twig from the outside. Ideally, you want to get this all to metal. This is the first thing you should go to metal, and then you want to get the rest of this to metal. And coming back in here, add these foundations. We'll go with window, here. It's the same on both sides. Come with that half wire. Go along. 2 wall frames. Get this triangle planter down, that'll protect your head. Coming up. Carry these roofs through. Use your spot for the auto turret. And just the same thing on this side. Then I like to go with the bed right here, right up against that wall. And then on this side, I like to go with a solar panel. Lets you run through and keep mobility nice and fresh. And so I kind of stand in this corner, I just pull it towards me. And that little bit of pulling towards you makes it so you get a really nice angle when you crouch. A little bit off, but I just kind of play with it until I get the angle I'm looking for, which is about that. And I go with the garage door here, keep that respawn protected. Then the last little bit of the base, the bedroom module. This is not a very high-tech module. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but these modules are already more than enough for me, so these are kind of just backup since I'm only playing trio. But if you're playing slightly deeper, you might want to figure out something better for this spot. And so, just closing this off, get a bed in here however you can. And then if you don't have the DLC, you can fit a small box right here and it'll peek out a little bit, just lock that. But if you do have the DLC, put the single shelf and you can get 4 small boxes in here. Don't forget your barricades. You can close the compound with 9 barricades. Build out there. Here. And that's the compound sealed. And there you have it. That is the Sierpinski. If you've made it this late into the video, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this whole thing, and I hope it was at least entertaining. This is my first base build video, and my first time trying to make a Rust cinematic, so if you have any feedback, I'd love any of that. Anything to help me get better as a base builder, as a video maker, all of that would be fantastic. So, thank you.